Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another video, and this is a paid request from Lucas. Thank you so much for that. And for those interested in requesting any type of videos, random thoughts, streams, commentaries, video game playthrough for an hour, full playthrough, tier list ranking, whatever the case, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal. Do have a CashApp as well. Links are down below in the info box, and I will get to it as soon as I possibly can. And this is for the 1998 film Godzilla, which I will say I have always enjoyed this film. 1998 Godzilla, I saw it in a theater back in 1998. I was not too familiar with Godzilla stuff. I had seen a few of them. I enjoyed Godzilla versus, it was called versus Monster Zero, and Godzilla versus Megalon. I enjoyed those two. Son of Godzilla. So there's some I enjoy, but I didn't see a whole lot of them. So I didn't have this passion for Godzilla like other people did. Saw in the theater, quite enjoyed it as a fun, sure dumb, but fun, entertaining blockbuster movie with a lot of, a fast pace, energy. I liked a good chunk of the characters. I liked a lot of these actors. I did like the music. Granted, I mean, some of them like P. Diddy, Puff Daddy. There's that whole separate the art from the artist type of thing, I guess. Now, before I go on, first off, it had been a while since they tried to do an American Godzilla film. I think in the 80s there was talks of doing one, and I think at one point it might have been maybe Steve Miner, who did Friday the 13th 2 and 3, House, others. That maybe talks of him doing a film, Steve Miner, and I think even Fred Decker, who would later make the Monster Squad, him maybe have a hand in writing it, and maybe be like a 3D movie. And this is in the 80s, and then that didn't work out. And I think then after that, there was a point where Joss Whedon was going to do... No, not Joss Whedon. Jan de Bont. I want to say there was a point where Jan de Bont was going to do it after the film Speed. But then it didn't work out. I could be wrong on that, but I swear there's a bit where Jan de Bont was going to do it. But then eventually Roland Emmerich did it, with Dean Devlin producing, because you had Universal Soldier, which was a good international hit, great movie. Stargate did pretty good for them, and then Independence Day, 1996, did bonkers for them. Did very, very well. So then it gets to the point of, what do you do next? Well, Godzilla comes up. Why don't we do Godzilla? Now, I know Dean Devlin has later regretted this choice, and I can see why. The big point of contention for this film is the creature itself. And I can't blame people for thinking that. I can't blame people. It's like with me and the Ninja Turtles when Michael Bay produced that 2014 film, or the 2016 film. And I see the design of the turtles, I go, that's not the Ninja Turtles. What the fuck is that? And they change stuff. Wait, their shells are bulletproof, and they got fucking DSL lips ready to suck the chrome off the back of a hitch of a damn tow truck, and you put some fucking chapstick on them, and they let the potato heads, 4 potato heads, green potato heads, and they did this, and bolts bounce off, and they could pick up a whole container and throw it like they're Incredible Hulk. I'm like, what the hell is this? Same with people who are hardcore fans of Godzilla. They look at this and go, that's not Godzilla. How he's leaping around, jumping around like a jumping bean. He doesn't have his atomic breath. And he can have babies. Oh, I mean, there's the son of Godzilla, to be fair, so it's not the first and only time that's happened. But the mini babies were a lot like the Raptors and Jurassic Park, which I'm sure was a big inspiration, was Jurassic Park. And I can see why people get mad about it. And well, all I can say is some people like those Michael Bay produced Ninja Turtle films because they didn't know much about them, and that was their first or second or one of their early introductions to those characters. For me, I saw a handful of Godzilla films back in the day, and this one with the budget and the scope and the some of the really good technical stuff they did and use of miniatures, CGI that doesn't hold up the best because it is 1998, but it was a fun package. And first off, as a movie, I think this is a much better, more fun, and yes, hell, I'd say even more cohesive movie than those Michael Bay produced Ninja Turtle films. And all I can say is I had fun. I had fun watching this back in 1998 in the theater. I had fun watching this on home video on VHS. I had fun watching it now. I still have fun. I still like the way the film looks. I like how parts of the film is in the rain and it gives it like a nice different look than your typical big budget monster movie. And I've always said with this film, if you changed the name of the film to say Reptilian, I know there was a film later called Reptilian, but if they just call this Reptilian, if they call this any other name, I was going to say the giant I can't think of a good name right now, but I'm sure there's names you could pop up that showcase the creature, the scope, what you're going for, what vibe you're going for, and hell, big fucking lizard. BFL, big fucking lizard, called that. There you go. I mean, there's a movie called Big Ass Spiders, so why not? Big fucking lizard. It's a goddamn sight job. Fucking lizard. If you didn't call it Godzilla, or if you had a precursor to what happened with Sonic the Hedgehog. Because that's what popped in my head watching this again. That trailer for Sonic that came out, and you saw how awful the look, the design of Sonic was. And they listened to people and changed it. Now, more than likely, the rest of the film would have been the exact same. The same type of jokes, the same type of humor, the same type of performance by Jim Carrey. And a lot of us, like me, enjoyed it. Thought it was fun. So that means the rest of the film, while it does have its flaws, was a fun enough movie. But that one design could really be the clincher for people. Understandably. That would have been the case for me. If there was a way they could have seen what people's perception was, but that's the thing, they kept it secret. That was the whole deal. And it was very, very, very overhyped. Way overhyped, to the point that you're hyping it up, but then it gets to the point it's so overhyped now it's going downhill and people are tired of hearing about it. Because I knew people that were just sick and tired of hearing about the fucking movie before the film even came out. And then the ironic thing was, they kept hiding what Godzilla looked like. And I remember going to a fucking Walmart, I'm with my family. I'm 83, 15 years old? With my mom going to Walmart, and I look over and there's a toy section and there's fucking Godzilla. There's a whole toy. I'm like, so that's what he looks like. So if you went to your fucking Walmart, the toy is right there for anyone to see. So this is all hiding, and the movie was not even out yet. I swear to God, the movie was not out yet, but the toys were fucking out that you could see what the fuck he looked like. So the whole, his tail is this big, his foot is this, his dick is this long, his fucking butthole is this swollen. No one gave a shit. Like, people got tired of hearing about it. Size does matter? Well, it depends. How's the motion of the ocean? That matters too. It's just people got tired of it. It's interesting to look back and see the trailers, and they do hide the look of Godzilla. I can appreciate also not giving everything away in the trailer in terms of wanting to keep it secret. Hell, that's how they don't do nowadays. But because eventually it'll get out, because especially the much more the day of the internet. I do appreciate that, hiding that, not putting it in the trailer. But it got a lot of hype. But if they were able to get people, like, imagine this same film came out today. The same film came out today, this trailer, and then you hear the bad word of mouth of Godzilla, and then they go back and they change the design. I think if you change the design of Godzilla to make it look like the Godzilla of yesteryear, or you change the title of the movie, I do not think this film will be as hated as it is. Will there still be people not liking it? Sure. They don't care for the characters. I do for the most part. There's one in particular character that I do not like at all. But for the most part, I like the characters. I like the actors. But some don't like them. The little love story, which that's an aspect I don't care for, because at least to what I said about one of the characters I don't like. Or I didn't care for the humor, but a lot of that stuff I did enjoy. I mean, Roland Emmerich is a less jingoistic version of Michael Bay. Like, Michael Bay is much more patriotic, military, jingoistic, and Roland Emmerich likes to blow shit up too, but he's a little less that. I would say also with characters, they both, Michael Bay and Roland Emmerich, they both have characters that can involve a bit of humor between them. But I would say with Michael Bay, usually they're a little bit more vulgar, or maybe even a little bit more juvenile, while Roland Emmerich, they're a little bit more family friendly. I don't want to say wholesome, but I don't know how else to put it. But yeah, I like Roland Emmerich's style. Even after this, I liked White House Down. I liked 2012. I didn't like everything he did. I don't care for 10,000 BC. I liked The Patriot. I thought that was a pretty good one. Yeah, The Patriot, White House Down, 2012. Day After Tomorrow, eh. The very beginning, like the first third of the film, I thought was interesting. Then the second half really fell apart. Yeah, 10,000 BC. I don't remember a damn thing about that movie, to be honest. And I forget what. Oh, Independence Day 2. That's his worst one. But yeah. Yeah, in retrospect, if they were able to get. Like, if the look of Godzilla was leaked and they listened to the feedback, if they went back and they changed it, like just like Sonic the Hedgehog was changed, maybe we have a different tune. Maybe like Sonic has 3 movies, now 4. Maybe that'd be the case with this. Who knows? I don't know. Because I think that one difference would change, not everybody, but I think it would change a lot of people's mind. I really do. Maybe I'm wrong on that. But the film that we got, I enjoy that while there is CGI that, again, doesn't look the best in 1998, there's a lot of stuff that Roland Emmerich does practically. There's a lot of locations he uses. There's a lot of practical stuff he puts in to mix with the CG. Even the beginning when the ship is attacked and you see like a claw go through the wall. That's done practically. Actually, I think one of the people on board is Al Leon, who's in Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, Die Hard. So many movies. And staying on the effects. Yes, a lot of Godzilla's CG, which again isn't the best. I don't mind his design. especially his face and his eye. It just, I wouldn't call it Godzilla. Some of the baby Godzillas, which, yes, it is a total take on the raptors in Jurassic Park. I like that some of them are done practically. When Godzilla first arrives on shore, there's some bits where he picks up this truck with its mouth, and there's this nice shot where you see kind of the cameras looking up, and you see Godzilla shaking the truck back and forth, and that's like a practical unit being done. So I do like that they mix up the practical effects in there. When the helicopters are chasing Godzilla, I think that those scenes look really cool because the way they have the buildings, it does look like they built a whole set of miniature city, like parts of a city. And you see, like, going through it, and Godzilla's turning, and the helicopters are following them, and they're going through these long passages with, like, buildings all over. I just think it looks really cool. It looks dynamic to me. Nowadays, it'd be everything CGI, which just look like a video game, but here, like, with the way the buildings, even the way the helicopters look, they do look pretty good, pretty neat with how that was showcased. I'm like, wow, that's some interesting technical techniques they used there. Even the ending with the taxi cab chase. Yes, there's a CG Godzilla, but there's a lot of stuff they use practically on the road. Like they had something there when the taxi goes over Godzilla's foot. They have something physical, so the taxi for real goes off, hits it, and then gets back on its four wheels. Nowadays, everything about that would be CG. The car would be CG. This would be CG. And a lot of the car, when the taxi's turning here, it does a 180 here, turns over here. There's shots where it's in the creature's mouth, and a lot of that's done for real in camera. And they use an actual car to drive off and land. And my whole point is that, yes, there's CG that's used. And because it's 1998, it's not going to look the best. But I do appreciate the combination of using practical stuff amongst all that. And it had the budget to use big portions of the actual city. Like big portions when they first feel the rumbling. And see this wide shot of the city and people are feeling the rumbling. Or the big shots where after the aftermath. Where there's like a shot of a building. There's a big hole that you went through the building. And it's also one of the reasons I like the film. It's a pretty fast-paced movie that, yes, it's a bit over 2 hours, but I think there's a lot of action in the film. When it really gets going, there's the Godzilla attacking, like I said, the ship at the beginning, coming to shore into New York, and all these boats and stuff are falling. They use actual real practical boats falling and crushing some people and almost crushing other people. There's a giant CG foot, yes, but there's a lot of other real stuff mixed in and real stuff being broken up and breaking apart. There's when we first see the full design of Godzilla, and they feeded this fish, and they're trying to put a trap upon this creature, and as we get the choppers chasing after, and they accidentally blow up the Chrysler building. I love the chopper's pilot's reaction. Oh damn. There's the other chase with Godzilla, and I love the shot where Godzilla runs, and this time there's like 50 fucking helicopters come around chasing after him. There's even subways chasing after him, and Godzilla maneuvers the missiles, so it blows up the submarine, but the second submarine goes after Godzilla. There's the military firing at it. I like this stuff with the baby Godzillas. Yes, it does remind me of Jurassic Park, but it didn't bother me as much as other people did. I thought some of the stuff was, yeah, it's, you just say it's goofy, but I did laugh. I did laugh of them tripping over the gumballs that Matthew Broderick brings down. I did chuckle when Matthew Broderick's in the elevator and it stops. When it opens, you see a lot of the baby Godzillas. Again, practical effects. And one's got popcorn and drops it, and then Matthew Broderick goes, wrong floor. That stuff I find fun. That's the kind of stuff I grew up with in that era of blockbusters. Independence Day, Twister. Yeah, imagine, like, when those films were coming out, I'm 13 years old in 1996, because that was Independence Day and Twister. So I'm 13. This movie, I'm 50. So that's like, kind of, I saw it at the right age. I saw it at the right age that I just looking for a fun movie, nothing existential about my being and my place on Earth, but just a blockbuster. And blockbusters were fun. Were fucking fun. And not every fucking shot looked like it was on a damn computer. I'll get to the cast for a bit, but the music. I don't mind the score. I thought the score was fine, but nothing I would listen to on my own. I did like some of the songs. Yes, I did like the Puff Daddy song, Come With Me. Now, granted, now it has a different connotation. Like, come with you? I mean, I guess I need to go get the baby oil. But I would be lying if I said, oh, I never listened to that song again. No, I did quite like that song. I had the Godzilla soundtrack. I had the CD back in the day of Godzilla. I even like the version of We Could Be Heroes just for one day. And I remember seeing those music videos on MTV back in the day. Because that was a time we as a family just got cable. We only had it for like 1 or 2 years. So I was able to see stuff like MTV or Sci-Fi Channel or Comedy Central and stuff. It was a whole new world for me. So I'm just so tuned in, or trying to be tuned in to what's going on in the entertainment world, I haven't even tried to look for the music videos on MTV. Oh, they got the music video for Armageddon. Or they got the music video, which that came out the same year, Armageddon. And was a bigger hit than Godzilla. And that's the thing, that this film, when it got so much buzz and hype, it came out with an opening weekend. Even the opening weekend, it didn't do as well as they hoped. And then it got bad word of mouth, and people didn't really care for it. And then it kind of just... It did well enough internationally that there were talks of maybe doing a sequel. Something about, I think it would take place in Australia or something, but it just never came about. It's probably one of those they thought about for a minute, and they're like, we'll move on. Well, the cast. Another thing I did like the cast. Matthew Broderick, not to get into the personal life, I do, and I did like him as an actor. I did. I grew up with him, watching him in movies like Ferris Bueller's Day Off, I love. I do like War Games. I really enjoyed this film called Project X he did with him and Helen Hunt about these chimpanzees being used in these medical experiments, about the effects of radiation on pilots. So they're kind of put in this contraption. They're supposed to be made to fly, like train how to fly well enough. So they put these tests to see how long, for example, how long can someone survive? So if they get hit, can they make this bomb run? Something like that. But the Project X, I do like that film. I don't think it has a Blu-ray. At least not in the U.S., I don't think. But that's always one I like. So, the Cable Guy. So I do like Matthew Broderick as an actor. I didn't mind him. I know a lot of people felt he was miscast. I didn't. I mean, hell, Teen Kong 2005. I think Jack Black and Adrian Brody, they were miscast in that movie. I just mentioned that because that was the last film for Lucas I watched and reviewed. This, though, I always liked Matthew Broderick. I didn't mind him as Centropolis, the worm guy, as they call him. A guy who listen to... He's brought in because he knows a bit about radiation and things of that nature. But I thought he was likable. But yeah, I liked him as an actor. It was cool to see the military guy played by Kevin Dunn. I liked him as an actor, Kevin Dunn. He was Shia LaBeouf's dad in the Transformer films. He was in Small Soldiers. He's been in quite a few movies, so... I also like the fact that he plays Hicks. So that's definitely an ode to Aliens. I thought that was kind of cool that they mentioned his name is Hicks. I think Colonel Hicks. So not Corporal, Colonel. I think there's another character named... Yeah, there's another character named O'Neill, which I think is a take on Kurt Russell's character in Stargate, because he was named O'Neill. But anyway, I like Kevin Dunn. There's this girl that she's at in a whole lot, Vicki Lewis, who's kind of the girl as part of this team who thinks Matthew Broderick is cute. And I'm like, can I see more of this girl? This girl I actually kind of like. I kind of like her attitude. Kind of liked her personality. And I think that should have been the love interest, not the one we had. Because that, to me... Let me get to her next. Maria Pitillo as Audrey. A for fucking awfulness. I fucking hated this character. I hated this character when I first saw the film. I hate this character rewatching the film. I don't know if I would blame the actress. I probably blame more of how the character is written. Because she's an awful fucking character. There's no reason to like her. I guarantee you even people who are like me who like the film, they don't like her character. Because she plays a character who works for this news organization. She wanted to be a reporter, but never came about. She's friends with these two other people. One of them is a cameraman, played by Hank Azaria, who's nicknamed Animal. Which I thought Hank Azaria was a lot of fun, but I'll get to him in a bit. She sees on TV, because there's news about some stuff going on, and she's like, oh, I know him. So apparently her and Broderick's character went out. He got down on his knees to, hey, you want to marry? And she said no. She said no because she wants to go here and be a reporter, and then that never happened. Then when she goes to see Broderick, she's like, oh, hey, how's it going? Oh my god, yeah, I know, blah, blah, blah. Listens to what he says, then steals his shit, then is stupid enough that she stole the shit so she could get the story, so she could be a reporter. But even then, the head news reporter guy, Harry Shearer, he steals it. So she doesn't even get that right. So this guy was in love with you and seemed to be nice to you, and you dumped him when he said, will you marry me? Because you wanted to follow your selfish nature of being a reporter, and you fucking failed at that. Then when you see an opportunity, you go to see him and try to be nice to him. He is being genuinely nice to you, but then you steal his shit, you betray his trust, you fuck him over, and you didn't even get what you want because you're too stupid. Then you inadvertently get Matthew Broderick fired, and then you wanted to come up to the, oh, are you leaving? Are you leaving town? Is it because of me? What do you expect? well, and then what did she do? She just goes into being a victim. Well, I never was a reporter, and I came here. I really wanted to be a reporter. Bitch, I don't give a fuck if you wanted to be the Queen of England. I don't care if you wanted to be on the cover of Swimsuit magazine or Playboy magazine or Penthouse or whatever. I don't care. You screwed up. You fucked up. You fucked up. You screwed up. Get the hell out of my way. Stupid character, annoying character, unlikable character. I hated the character of Audrey. Just Maria Pitillo's character. I don't blame the actress. I blame the writing. It was a terribly written character, and all I have to say is, why should the audience like this person? There's no damn reason. So, I would have been fine if her character died off and the other girl, Vicky Lewis, became the new love interest. Or you just don't have a love interest at all. But the other people, I liked there's a bit of a Simpsons thing in this too, which is interesting. Because Harry Shearer, he was Mr. Burns on The Simpsons, among other voices. Again, he plays the reporter who's kind of the head guy and is willing to steal stories, bit of a sleazebag. You have Hank Azaria, who was the voice of Apu before Apu got canceled. And he voiced other characters. He plays the cameraman. A lot of fun as Animal. I thought he had some very funny lines. When his girlfriend says, hey, Audrey's going to be staying with us. And he's like, oh, cool. A threesome. That's excellent. I'm a little tired, and then he gets pushed out of the way. I thought that was pretty funny. I always love the bit that he's trying to get his camera to work. He's like, oh, he's got to pop the tape in, and he's filming Godzilla, and he's like, ah, and Godzilla, like, he's here, and Godzilla steps perfectly, and so he keeps walking. I love Hank Azaria's reaction of, I'm still alive, but he's not saying he's thinking. He was like, ha ha ha. I thought it was a very genuine reaction. He has some very funny pieces of dialogue. We're in his mouth. You're going the wrong way, man. You're going the wrong way. This is when the four main characters are in the taxi cab and it's sliding backwards in the Godzilla's throat. And he's like, you're going the wrong way, man. You're going the wrong way. He was a lot of fun. I really liked Hank Azaria in the movie. See, another person I really liked is John Reno, which I don't think he's a fan of this movie. But I liked him as an actor. I liked him in Mission Impossible. He was in Leon the Professional. He gives a good acting performance in that movie. The Crimson Rivers. He plays this guy who's with a group of people. You get the idea that the French inadvertently caused Godzilla to be created with some bombings, and they're here to try to clean up the mess. So the first half, they kind of pretend to be insurance people. They're observing, watching. They have this running joke about how bad the coffee is in America. And they really come into play in the second half, because by that point, Matthew Broderick warns the military, hey, I think this thing's asexual. I think the reason he's eating all this fish is because he's taking some of it back to his potential children. We gotta go find the nest. They're not sure. Then after that, Maria Pitillo, Audrey, screws everything up and lets the story loose. He gets fired. But then John Reno and his crew pick him up and says, we believe you, so we're going to help you look for this nest. And John Reno, I just liked his persona. I liked him trying to be American, where they put all the chewing gum, and they're at the checkpoint, and the guard's like, what's your problem? You don't talk. I'm doing that. I can't do an Elvis impersonation to save my life, so I'll just say he does an Elvis impression. Thank you very much. Elvis Presley movies. The King. He was the king. And he was a badass too. He was able to, when the shit hits the fan, is able to have a calm, collected demeanor, and able to shoot with his gun and helps him out where, for example, there's a point where they're in Madison Square Garden. I like the use of Madison Square Garden in this whole sequence with all the eggs and the creatures be unleashed and kill some of John Reno's men. Hank Azaria and the girl follow them. So it's those two, Broderick and John Reno. The door's over here. The creatures are all in the middle. And John Reno's shooting the lights down in order to get them out of the way. Even with John Reno driving the car and doing some good slick maneuvers with the vehicle. Keep the creature at bay. So I think other than the Audrey character, I think the other characters are fun. On another Simpsons reference, Harry Shearer's secretary. There's a bit where Harry Shearer is on the phone and talk about needing the story, and Godzilla passes by, and Nancy Cartwright, the voice of Bart Simpson, she is the secretary and goes, "Sir, I think your story just passed by the window." So interesting they got so many people from The Simpsons on here, so that's cool. They also do an in-joke to Siskel and Ebert, his Mayor Ebert. I forget the actor's name, but I've seen him in quite a few stuff. He was in The Omen 4. He's been in a few other movies. He plays Mayor Ebert, and his go-to is to do a thumbs up, and then he has a guy that looks kind of like Siskel. And at the end he goes, "This is what I think of your campaign." Because Roland Emmerich and Dean Devlin, they really were not fans of Siskel and Ebert and how they rated their previous films. I thought it was kind of funny though. I mean, it made me chuckle. I mean, I think it was fine for them to, and it wasn't even that big of a piss to be taken out of because it was just a little bit of poking fun. But it wasn't anything that egregious or harmful either. It was kind of fun, I thought. And I remember like seeing in the theater, just again marveling at some of the technical stuff they did, enjoying good chunk of the characters. Like I said, I like that at times that the streets are raining, and it just gives a bit more mood, not mood, but just a little bit more to remind me that this is a film and not just a piece of digital, but like later on where they shoot everything on digital and everything just looks so crisp and clear and clean cut and looks so artificial. But this, looks like a film. I know it may not be saying much, but I miss that kind of shit. I really do. I remember seeing the theater, like I was getting to the film, and I don't know why I thought this, but when they blew up the Madison Square Garden, I thought the movie was over. I'm like, no. Of course, in retrospect, I'm like, no, of course it's not going to be over, because come on, Godzilla's not really dead. He's got to be one big scene, and of course there is, but I guess as a 15-year-old, I didn't really think of movies that clearly or that in depth. So 15 in the theater, I'm like, oh, okay, we're getting ready. Oh shit. Oh, okay, Godzilla's still alive, alright. And then we get to be the best action scene in the movie is the car chase. I remember being exhilarated watches on the big screen. And just seeing like going through all the city and going from street to street and then going over Godzilla's foot and this close call here and there, and it's right behind them and bumping the back, the bumper of the car, and then here's the soldiers, and Broderick needs to get some information to them, so they do a 180, and the creature trips over and gets back up, and then they're in a tunnel, and they gotta go backwards because the claw goes like this and pulls back. The scene have high beams. They go put the lights out, blind Godzilla. There's the bit where it gets into the creature's mouth. You're going the wrong way. And Broderick has to shock the tooth or the mouth of the creature. They drive off of it. It just felt really exciting, like what I would want in a big budget monster movie. A lot of action. If you don't have CG, at least have a mix of practical in there. For the fun, likable characters like John Reno and Hank Azaria. It went at a good pace. I didn't really feel a whole lot of boredom throughout it. There's still moments that made me chuckle. There's still moments... And again, the design of Godzilla, I don't mind it, but I can say, yes, I get it. It's not really Godzilla. So why you would change that? Like, why are you changing something that's not broken? Why you take away the atomic breath? People liked and enjoyed that. They do a scene that wants us to maybe give that illusion. There's a bit where Godzilla breathes and the cars are pushed back, and as they push back they explode, and they explode in a way that looks like he's giving a fire breath, but it's not. It's just he's blowing, the cars are going back, and then they hit combust, and it appears like a fireball from his mouth, but it's not. But I get what they were doing. I think even Dean Devlin, he's admitted, like, yeah, we should have thought differently on that. But it's just with me, I actually can be a sucker for these big budget films where a lot of things blow up, if done right. I mean, The Core is not a beloved movie, but I like The Core. Because I like some of the big set pieces, and I like the cast. Aaron Eckhart, and Hilary Swank, and Delroy Lindo, and Stanley Tucci and stuff. But I like The Core. I really like Independence Day. I love Twister with Bill Paxton. Even Dean Devlin, he directed Geostorm. Geostorm is a pretty dumb film. I get it. But I have a lot of fun with that movie. I did. I like Gerard Butler. That kind of remind me of... I like these films more, but that remind me of this kind of era. Like Geostorm I like. That's one I would actually like to rewatch again, Geostorm. Not many other people liked it, but I enjoyed it for what it was, because it just had that kind of fun nature to it. I don't know how else to put it. But yeah, this got hyped. There was a cartoon series, which I know I've seen maybe 2 or so episodes. I wasn't really big on it, but I think the show lasted maybe 2 seasons. I mean, it's not just 1 or 2 episodes. Like, there's a decent amount of episodes. I want to say maybe 2 seasons, maybe, or something like that. I can't remember how long it lasted. But I mean, I would have been curious to see what a sequel pertained, because it does leave room for a sequel. Because there's an age that ready to be born. And I think I remember that the sequel, something about that Godzilla would be a good guy, and that there would be some other creature. I don't know, just with John Reno, Matthew Broderick, Hank Azaria coming back, and maybe some other people get in there. Or potential. And the way Roland Emmerich was able to handle the use of miniatures like he did in Independence Day, and he does in this. It would have been cool to see what he accomplished and would accomplish, but that wasn't the case. Because a lot of people hate it. Even this day, there's a lot of people who don't like it. You'll see in comments people go, "Oh, this is my childhood movie." I guess in a way I'm one of them. Although I was 15, but still, that age. But I think as a piece of entertainment about a big monster wrecking the city, it doesn't feel pretentious. It kind of just fun. It's fun entertainment. And it knew that's what it wanted to be, and it ran with it. It didn't pretend to be anything else. It didn't try to have fit its head up its own ass and be full of itself. It had fun with the idea and ran with it. And I like that. And I'll be honest, aside from Godzilla Minus One and maybe GMK, yeah, GMK I really did enjoy, which is Godzilla, Mothra, King Ghidorah, all monsters. I forget the whole title, but yeah, GMK, as it's called, with the Deadite Godzilla. Other than that, and Godzilla Minus One, there's really no other Godzilla film I liked from '98 to today more than this. Again, the ones that come to mind that I do like is GMK and Godzilla Minus One. But like Shin Godzilla, I'd rather watch this. The 2014 Godzilla, or King of the Monsters, or Godzilla vs. Kong, I'd rather watch this. Godzilla vs. Kong, the second one, I'd rather watch this over that. Godzilla 2000, I'd rather watch this. Because I just thought this had more fun with its premise. The characters just felt more likable. The humor I thought was a bit more funny. The pace I thought was a bit faster. And it's more my cup of tea in terms of entertainment. So always enjoyed this film. It was fun to rewatch this again. So thanks for watching. Take care. And we'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye for now.